Hey guys, it's Emily here with Pocket Full of Sparkles, and today I actually just want to share a story with you and just have kind of like a chit chat, as if I was talking to you as like a friend at a coffee shop. I have my coffee, I went out and got some and then transferred it to my cute mug, which is, I think, super inspirational. One of the reasons why I want to do this is, first of all, I've had a really long week with my full-time job. I work full-time, so I didn't have time to prepare the video that I was originally going to, so I thought that this might be a good supplement video. Plus, I really wanted to try out this type of content, just sitting here and talking with you guys. So yeah, I hope you guys like it, and without further ado, let's get into the video. So I actually want to share a story with you about something that happened to me in college. So I lived at home for a couple years during my college career because we lived close enough so that I could commute, and I was at that point driving my first car, which was a 1990 Range Rover. I mean, this thing was older than me. It's amazing that it was still running, to be honest. But anyways, it had some quirks. So one of the quirks was sometimes the steering wheel would get locked and you'd have to jerk it around a little bit to get the key to turn it on. That didn't happen very often, but when it did, sometimes I could do it, and then sometimes I'd have to get help because it was just really stiff. Josh ended up helping me a majority of the time, but this particular time I was meeting my dad in Golden to pick up my laptop from the Apple that he had gotten back from the Apple store, and I was in the common parking space down in Golden, and he drove up and I tried to start my car and it did not work. It failed. So basically the steering wheel was locked, and I tried and just couldn't get it to unlock. So I called my dad and I was like, can you try it? And he tried it, and Josh was with me and he tried it, and nobody could get it unlocked. So my dad's like, well, why don't you just call AAA because you're insured with AAA, and have them come out and try to get a new tumbler for you maybe, or see if they can do anything. And so I was like, okay. So I called AAA, right? And this guy comes out about 30-45 minutes later, and it's cold. It's like, this is maybe February, March, so it was kind of cold and the sun was going down, and he comes out and he starts working on it, and he can't get it to unlock either. So he's like, okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to make a duplicate key. And I was like, okay, that sounds great. And so he did, and he tried it and stuck it in, and that didn't work. And in fact, during the duplicating process, he actually broke the duplicate key in the steering wheel. So not only will my car not start, there's now a key in my steering wheel. Coffee break. Anyways, back to the story. What happened then was, he's like, okay, I think we can get the key out. I was like, well, you better. I mean, right now at this point you're just making things worse. And so he goes and he's trying to get the key out. He finally gets most of it out, I think, and he's like, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to grind the surface of the ignition so that the key should be able to work better. And I was like, okay, sure. So he gets this big grinder out, and I'm sitting in the back of the car trying to keep warm. I have like a coat and a blanket and a hat on, and he starts grinding my ignition. No safety glasses, which is terrifying because there's sparks flying everywhere, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not good. And all of a sudden I hear oops, and I'm like, what does oops mean? And he's like, well, I just ground off your whole entire ignition. And I was like, what? No, really? Ah! And so the place where the key goes in and turns, it's all off. I am physically holding it in my hand. And I was like, really? And so I was super upset because the whole point of him coming out was to fix things, and he only made things worse. And he charged me $100 for it. And I was like, okay, this is not good. He eventually got the car started with a screwdriver, and he's like, here, you can drive like this, just turn the screwdriver and your car will start, and then take out the screwdriver, drive home, it'll be fine, and then put the screwdriver back in, turn it to stop it. And I was like, what? Really? He's like, well, at least you can go home now. And I was like, yeah, I can go home now. And so for a while, I was driving with a screwdriver, not a key. I mean, it took about 2 weeks to order the parts and get them back on the car. But in the meantime, I was driving with a screwdriver. Yep, super hokey, I know. But I guess the moral of the story was that I was trying to get at was he did not see the big picture. The big picture for in my mind was, let's get it so that I can work my car. If that means calling a tow truck and getting somebody more qualified to work on it, if it means changing the tumblers, making another key, whatever. Call a locksmith, I don't care. I just want to be able to run my car in the long run. Now he was thinking short term. He was like, I gotta get this girl home. So he did everything in his power and he succeeded in his goal, which was to get me home. My goal was to get it so that I could drive my car to school the next week and forever how long in the future. So I kind of think that this is kind of analogous to what we do sometimes in life, where we know what the bigger goal is and we focus so much on the minute details, you don't realize that you're actually hurting the overall goal. And at the moment, yes, you might be saving time, you might be saving energy, or you might think you are, but in the long run, it's really gonna hurt you because the fix for the car to replace the whole ignition was very expensive. And in addition to that, I think this problem could have been solved by getting my car towed to a shop and having a locksmith or somebody who specializes in locks look at it, and it would have been much cheaper. So I would just encourage you guys to look at your goals and see what you're doing to achieve those goals, and then say, what am I doing now that I think is helping the goal? Is it really helping the goal, or is it just getting the moment done? Will it cause you pain later, or will it help you in the long run? And that's great if it will help you, but I think more often than not, we get so caught up in the moment that we kind of end up taking the shorter or the longer path through the woods instead of the short beeline path. So I would just encourage you guys to look at your goals and then see how what you're doing today is affecting those goals, whether it's for the good or the bad. Okay guys, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed my story and found it slightly humorous. I can look back on it and laugh now, and I think it's a great story to prove points. But I hope this encourages you that sometimes life happens and there's nothing you can do about it but learn from it, right? If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below so that you don't miss my up and coming content. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks. Bye.
Story time with Josh. You know, Emily might have not enjoyed the entire situation, but it is pretty cool that she could start her car with a screwdriver. Which just goes to show you that you can always be resourceful and solve your goals in creative ways.